Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all well. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. Happy to have you. And I hope you come back. Okay, so this video is another in the series of loving the skin that you are in. But I will be sharing with you some reasons as to why you shouldn't compare yourself with others. 3 reasons, right? Now, before I get into those reasons, the world as we know it is quite interesting. Society, social media, the internet and everything has taken over. Like the internet is technology and everything is speaking measures today, right? And as a result, you find that with social media and everybody posting pictures online, sharing videos of themselves doing X, doing Y, their achievements, their successes, all these things. Yes, everybody is doing it. And as a result, a lot of persons, a lot of young people find themselves, measuring themselves against what other people are being successful at and the things that they are achieving for themselves. Now, this psychologist rather, who coined a theory regarding social comparison. I won't be getting into the nit and the grit of what social comparison is, but I'm going to give you an idea of what it is. It's basically measuring yourself against, somebody who you deem as a person who is more successful than you are. Okay? I'm not going to say that it's not, normal for us as, individuals to compare ourselves to other people. It does happen. It does happen. But it can get a little deeper. It can become more serious if not controlled. Because it can lead a person to become very depressed, when they find that they don't measure up to that, person or that thing or, that situation, right? When you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to other people, you are left with the notion that you can never measure up, right? And this can become a very big problem because it can cause you to feel less of yourself, depressed, all of these low, useless feelings. I myself have experienced it before, so that is why I can share a tip or two on the topic. I mean, we go through the experience. Sometimes it's not us that is comparing ourselves with other people, but sometimes it's other people who are comparing us. It comes from different angles, to be quite honest. But I do believe that it is something that can be controlled and can be rectified if we get our minds in the right place. Now, the Bible expressly says in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12, and it reads, "For we dare not compare ourselves or compare ourselves with those who commend themselves, but they, measuring themselves by themselves, comparing themselves among themselves, is not wise." This is something that you can read for yourself. Grab a Bible, right? No, this is something huge. And if you understand exactly what it means, it is pretty much saying that we shouldn't compare ourselves with others. That is what I get from it. But look into it for yourself. The Bible also says that we should be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Now, I will get into the 3 reasons why we shouldn't compare ourselves. One reason is that it undermines our own abilities. Now, what I mean by this is that because you're so focused on, the successes of others, what other people are doing, you're so caught up with it to the point where you are blinded. You are blinded to yourself to the point where you are unable to see that you have gifts that are quite useful too, right? Now, the time you spend focusing on another person's successes and achievements, you know, what they're doing better than you are, what they're doing better than you, what, you know, and all these problematic, you know, kind of thinking, you end up losing yourself pretty much. You end up losing yourself. We all have different skills. We all have different skill sets. We all have our own talents, our own gifts that God has given us to use. We all have them. And even if it's a case where we are doing well at something, it doesn't give us the right to set ourselves lower than anybody else or even higher than anybody else. It makes no sense. God created all of us with varying gifts, and He calls each and every one of us to use our gifts to the best of our ability. Right? We all want to be happy. We all want to be happy, so He calls us to use our gifts to the best of our ability. Whether we have gifts that are up in the smallest form to the most extraordinary form, we all can be extraordinary with the simplest of gifts. It's just for us to tap into our creative mechanism. That's a psychological term. Yeah, it's a psychological term. But we all have our own. God gave us our own creative mechanism, you know, we need to tap into and find out how best we can use these gifts that He has given us as we prepare for His return. Okay? So you don't want to spend your time, you know, dumbing down your ability. You don't want to spend your time doing that. Spend some time seeking out your gifts, use them to further the work of the Lord, use them to affect change, use them to influence somebody, use it to do something. Don't spend your time comparing yourself to other people. Just remember this though, in God's eyes, you are a pearl. You're a person of value, you're a person of worth. Remember that. Number 2 is that it causes unhappiness when you compare yourself with other people. Oftentimes when people find that they can't measure up, it usually causes unhappiness, right? It affects you mentally, you know, and usually after becoming depressed, you become unhappy, right? Some amount of envy and jealousy usually it surrounds this whole idea of constantly comparing yourself to other people. Because say I have my friend, and my friend is a great singer in church, right? I'm not really a good singer, but my friend, you know, in my mind, I wish I could sing like my friend, right? Maybe I'm a good speaker. Maybe she's not a good speaker, but because I want to be like her, and I maybe envy her voice, and I'm jealous of wanting to be able to sing like her, to the point where, you know, I'm going out of my way to sing even though I can't really sing, right? And you know this, and when I find that I'm not measuring up to her way of singing, it usually it causes problems, because I'm constantly measuring myself against her accomplishment, her skill, her ability, and that is not fair to me. When you look at it, it wouldn't be fair for me to be doing that when I could be spending more time learning how to speak, which is my own strength. But I'm not doing that because I'm too busy wanting to sing like my friend. You get what I'm saying? There are people who think they are God's gift to man. You know, they walk around and they boast and they think they're better than other people, and they make this be known because when they come in when they come in your presence, they pass remarks and say things like, nobody can do this better than me, you know, like I'm the one here, like there's nobody like me. Hello. Yeah, you have those people. And whenever persons who suffer from this sort of inferiority complex, hear remarks like those, that's when it starts. You start feeling less of yourself, like you're not enough. And that is where 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12 comes in, about you shouldn't compare yourself with others who commend themselves by themselves, right? So you are the one patting yourself on your own shoulder. You're tooting your own horn, pretty much, right? You're not giving anybody a chance to give you a compliment. You give yourself you give yourself the compliment. And then when other people hear you, they feel intimidated or inferior towards these things sometimes. And it does happen. But I'm saying to you that you shouldn't compare yourself. It makes no sense. It's a waste of time to spend your time comparing yourself to somebody else. And finally, number 3. We are to acknowledge that we are imperfect. And when I say imperfect, I mean we're all human beings. We all fall short of God's glory. We all have shortcomings. So it isn't right for us to get up and boast, because a lot of the times people put forth their best looking self on social media. It doesn't necessarily mean that they put forth their true selves, right? So it isn't fair for us as people to compare ourselves with other imperfect human beings here on this earth who err and who suffer. We're capable of suffering. And I mean, a lot of us we meet different opportunities. Some are better than others, but it doesn't mean that as people you are better than me because of the opportunity that you meet, right? The Bible says that chance happens to every man. So today can be for me and tomorrow can be for you, or the other way around. Okay? So regardless of my race, regardless of my background, regardless of, whatever situation I may find myself in, anything can happen to anybody. Any one of us at any time. We are fickle, we are frail, we all fall short. Okay? You can just imagine, for example, as an individual, you emulate a particular businessman, somebody who you have been measuring yourself against your whole life. I mean, you admire him, you admire how successful he has been in business and the awards that he has been getting, the achievements, the successful business ventures, all these things, right? And then one day you hear on the news that he is convicted of child molestation, theft, money laundering, right? What are people going to say? What's the first thing that people usually say whenever they see these things happen? That it can happen to anybody. I mean, he's only human. These things happen. That's my point exactly. He's only human. He's imperfect. So it's not right for us to compare our imperfect selves with another imperfect person. You compare yourself with somebody who is perfect, and that person is Jesus Christ. Jesus alone is deemed perfect, guys. So let us stop comparing ourselves, right? It's a waste of time and it makes no sense. If you like what you hear and you find it helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Share with your neighbors, your friends, your family, or anybody who you feel has been or who is, struggling with self-comparison. Feel free to share it. All right? All the best to you. Take care.